When you first log into the app, it will center on all the assets in the account. Each asset is represented by a circle with either an arrow or a box or a number inside of it. An arrow means that the asset is in motion, and the arrow will show the direction that it's going in. A box means that the asset is stopped, and then a number means that it's a cluster of assets. So if I click on this number 4 here, you'll notice it'll zoom in and it'll center on those 4 assets. Now I can reset this filter and see all the assets by hitting this reset map button. Okay, now to search for an asset, you can do that by asset label, by device ID, or by driver. This button here lets you filter by copying and pasting from a list. So I have a sample list here that I'll copy from. Let's copy the first 5. All right, now I'm going to Control V to paste and apply filter. And you'll notice that the 5 assets now appear in this list here. So I'm going to clear this filter just by hitting this X. All right, next you can try by uploading a CSV file. So let's try doing that. So I just click on this blank area here. And now I can select a file, CSV file. Okay, now I got my list here, and I'm going to hit this X here to close out that blank one and hit apply filter. Okay, now I got a list of 35 out of 104 assets. If I click on this open grid button, this will open sort of an Excel spreadsheet, and it'll have the same group of 35 assets. We'll go into more detail about this grid menu here in a minute. Okay, I'm going to clear this out again. Okay, now if I hit this drop-down menu here, there's different ways of filtering assets on the map. So if I come down here and click on groups, these are different groups that an admin has created. This icon here represents the number of assets in this group. This icon here is the number of users in the group. So if I click on any of these here, it'll filter to the 6 assets in this group. Okay, next you can also filter by projects. So if you assign different assets, users, and locations to a project, you can see those on the map just by clicking this button here. So this project here contains 1 asset. This is the 1 location assigned to this project, and then there's 2 users assigned to this project. Okay, locations are also known as geofences. So if I click on any of these here, you can see these geofences or locations that an admin has built. And then last is zones. Okay, so there's 4 zones in this account. If I click on one of these here, I can see the Chicago zone. The main difference between locations and zones are that zones are much bigger than locations, and locations we can use for different types of alerts, like location and out alerts, time spent inside of a location alert, and time exceeded and no motion outside of a location alert. Those are great alerts for measuring equipment utilization. Okay, if your account has hierarchy accounts, coming down here, you can actually filter by hierarchy account too. So if I click on this 15, it'll show you the 15 assets in this hierarchy account. Okay, I'm going to switch back to assets here, and I'm going to go ahead and close this menu out. You can also close this menu here and bring this one back. Gives you a wider view of this map. This button actually here gives you a total full screen view. So this is great for if you're putting it on a monitor or something in the shop or in the office. And you can actually, these buttons here is a weather overlay. So you see the cloud cover and the temperature across the country. It's traffic overlay. So the green means that there's no traffic. Red means that there's heavy traffic. And then this street view, this guy right here, you can just left click and then drag him anywhere where it's light shaded blue, and it'll give you a Google Maps view of what it looks like at that location. So if I left click, I can actually turn this around, and see a cool little view of this Google Maps Street View. Okay, backing out of this. You can zoom in and out using these buttons here, or you can use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out. And then this lets you change between the map view and satellite overlay. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this out of full screen view. Okay, bring this menu back out here. Click on this here. So another way of filtering on the map here, you can see these buttons down here. So if I click on this, this button is for any asset that needs maintenance due. So if I click on this here, I can see the 5 assets that need maintenance due. These will also have a little wrench icon in this card here, as well as these little wrench icons out here on the map. If I click on this, it'll show me all the running assets, as well as anything that's moving. So there's 97 assets currently moving. Okay, reset the map just by hitting this button here. This button here lets me see any assets that I've recently touched or viewed. This button here will show you all the locations on the map, so any geofences that an admin's made. This box search is kind of cool, so if you click on this here, and if you want to see a group of assets in a specific part of the map, like say I wanted to see just what these 5 assets are, I can actually use this box search here and put them all inside of a box. Once they're inside the box, you just let go. Okay, now I have my 5 assets out of 104, and I can see the asset names here. And again, I got this nice grid menu up here, so I have a nice little list of 5 assets that are in this area. And if I want, I can just come over here and export it into Excel or CSV or PDF file. Okay, I'm going to close out of this grid menu again and close out of this box search. Okay, last button here is a search. This lets you just search for a specific address. So I'll just go ahead and type one in here just so you can see what it does, 2244. Okay, this used to be our old headquarters. And from here, I can click on this and it'll just show me any assets that are closest to this location. So these are the closest assets to this location here. And if I check this grid menu here, it'll actually show you the distance that they are away from that location. Okay, let's go ahead and clear this out and reset the map. Okay, so next I'm going to click on here just to explain some of the details of this card. This date right here represents the date of the last communication from this device. So this device last communicated a day ago at 7:35 a.m. Looking at another example, so I'm just filtering to asset 4007. So this one just last reported a minute ago, and it is currently moving, is the last event message type we got from the device. Ryan Knights is the name of the driver. Myself, I assigned myself to this one, and this is the city and state that it's currently located in. Now, if I click on this asset card, it'll open up this asset card here, and you'll see that the map will say centered on this asset as it's moving down the road. You'll have some other basic information about the asset here. This information here is customizable for an admin. An admin can pick and choose which data elements they want to put into these fields. This button here will take you to our asset dashboard, which I'll go over here in a minute. The history trail. This is like our breadcrumb trail, so you can see where it's been over any span of time. Street view will just give you that street view that we looked at earlier, just wherever this asset is currently located at. If I click this more button, I'll have some other menu options. So this view details just shows you some other information about the device. Hit this arrow to go back. Okay, now if I hit this, it'll not follow this asset as it's moving down the road, so it'll just leave me right here in this space on the map. I can get directions to this asset or any other assets using this button. This Find Nearest Asset button will show you any of the closest assets to this asset. And then this quick report here just opens up a menu of all of our stock reports, and it'll give you the, if you click on any of these here, it'll give you the last 24 hours of data for any of these reports. Okay, close out of this here and reset the map again. Okay, next we're going to take a look at the asset dashboard. So if I click on this dashboard button, it opens up a new window. And this is really the one central place where you can come see any information about an asset. So you notice there's a lot of buttons up here along the top. You can see analytics, machine hours when it was running, time series shows you. You can deep dive into specific data elements, alert history, maintenance history, inspection history, driver history, and any files that you want to save related to this asset. So you'll notice here we have a number of different data elements. Here's the engine data, location information, asset information, and the date that the device last communicated, as well as different gauges over here on the right. You can zoom in or out on this map and then see any groups or projects that this asset is assigned to. These fields in here are customizable, so you can remove or add different data fields that are important to your business and customize the views for your company. All right, now if I click on analytics here, it'll break out the different types of data over each day. So this will show you the number of miles driven per day, engine hours per day, trips per day, fuel burn per day, idle hours or idle fuel used per day. This machine hours here, this view lets you see when the asset was running. So anything that's shaded green means that the equipment was turned on. So if I hover my mouse over here, it actually tells me that the asset was running from 7:13 to 9:58. And then over here, it actually tells me the total runtime hours for these individual periods. Time series, like we were saying, lets you deep dive on specific data fields. So I can come over here and pick something like engine hours, and it'll show me the engine hours from August 18th through August 25th. And I can actually add another chart down here. So now I can see two different data fields side by side. Okay, so I can see the idle time over engine hours. Okay, next you can see the alert history for this asset. So I'm going to open up this time frame here and let's look at month to date. Okay, so you can see the different alerts that's been triggered during this month. And you can actually see their severity types over here. You can filter by alert types, the alert names, or the severity here, and export this out if you'd like. Okay, from maintenance here, you can see the maintenance status. So this asset has a Department of Transportation inspection due in 159 days, and an oil change due in either 2,420 miles or 81 days. And you can see when it was last serviced here. If you want to see the service history, you can come over here and you can see any maintenance that's been logged, as well as see the total lifetime cost of maintenance. Okay, you can also, here's a shortcut to actually log maintenance. So if you're a maintenance personnel and you just the oil change, you can come in here and log that you completed that maintenance. Okay, the inspection history can be found here also. So if the asset has passed or failed any inspections during this time frame, you would see that inspection history here, as well as seeing the driver history. So we can see that I was assigned to this asset on August 17th. It was briefly assigned to another driver and then reassigned back to myself. Okay, you can also save files to this asset. So Something like a driver's manual is common, and maybe some registration forms could be permits or certifications of some kind. You can use this as a file storage solution. So if you need to have a central place for your drivers, operators, or anybody in your company to come see specific documents about a specific asset, you can come in here and see and get those files remotely. Okay, this quick report button up here just lets you pick from our list of stock reports, and just like on the other asset icon, it'll give you the last 24 hours of data. Okay, next we're going to take a look at the history trail. So if I click on this button here, it'll take me to the breadcrumb trail. It defaults here to today, but I can open this up and let's just say, let's look at week to date. Okay, so week to date, this asset has driven 2,000 miles, 2,001.4 miles, and taken 55 hours and 2 minutes. So if I scroll back up to the top up here, I can start on the first message that we received during this time frame. And I'll just hit this play history button. And it helps to zoom out so you can see where this guy's going. And I can left click on the map and I can drag along on the map or zoom out using my mouse wheel. If this is playing a little too quickly for you, you can slow it down or speed it up. And you can also export this message history here too. Okay, to navigate back to the map, I can click this home button here. Okay, and we're back where we started here on the map. Okay, next we're going to go over alerts. So if I hit this menu button over here in the bottom left-hand corner, it'll expand this menu here. If you click on these menu options, you'll collapse these menus. So if I click on this manage alerts, I can go here to set up a new alert. All right, here's the list of all the existing alert rules in this account. You have alert name and alert type. I'm going to click the add alert button over here in the top right hand corner to set up a new alert. All right, first we got to give it an alert name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a fake alert for this account for any asset that's used outside of normal business hours. So first I'm going to do is I'm going to select the alert type here from this alert type menu. And underneath the asset activity and movement section, there's an off hours usage alert. You'll notice there's about 30 alerts here, 30 to 40. And we have them broken out into different categories. Now to go through this whole list would probably take me 30 to 45 minutes. So for now, I'm just going to set up a single off hours usage alert for this video. Okay, so next I want to select which assets are subject to this alert. So I can do individual assets, or I can do the entire company, or I can set up groups of assets. To set up the groups, you have to be an admin or restricted admin with access to groups. Okay, so if I select this drop-down menu below this assets here, I can select which assets I want to be subject to this alert. And you can use this search bar here to search for other assets. Okay, after I selected my assets here, I want to set up my alert schedule. Well, first let's give it a name. Off hours usage alert. Every alert needs a name. This button up here lets you control whether non-admins can see this alert or not. Okay, so now let's set up the alert schedule. So I want the alert to trigger anytime an asset is used outside of normal business hours. So I said outside of a schedule, so outside of business hours. So I need to set up the schedule. This other option here lets you, will only trigger the event alert for events that occur inside the schedule. So if I wanted to know if when a piece of equipment was used during business hours, I would use an inside the schedule. But for this example, we're doing off hours usage. So next I want to set up my business hours. So I'm going to select Monday through Friday for this example. and then 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. will be my business hours. So most of our devices report every minute. So if an asset is being used outside of business hours, it would be subject to this alert every minute, unless you set up the alert frequency here. So I'll show you how to do that. So right now for this example, it's set at 30 minutes, but we can switch this to hours. And we'll say that once this alert has been triggered, don't trigger another alert for the same asset for the same event for another hour. All right, and then notification frequency works similarly. So this alert will be triggered every hour that this asset would be used outside of business hours. But for this example, it wouldn't send a notification, and that's an email or SMS message, but once every 24 hours. Up here is actually where you set up the notification if you want notifications to be sent. But next, we're going to take a look at the alert subject and alert content. So the alert subject box here, you can customize the alert subject. The words inside of brackets here are called tokens. So that data auto fills into the alert subject. We have a number of tokens here that you can use to further customize your alert subject. Same with the content. So if you set up a text message notification, only the subject is sent. The content is not sent for text message notifications. For email notifications, the alert subject is filled into the email subject line, and the alert content is filled into the body of the email. When you're setting up a distribution list, you can give that distribution list a name here, and then you can reuse that distribution list without having to retype in the emails and text and the phone numbers again. So you can just reuse the distribution list. And the very top right-hand corner is where you set the severity level, and you can filter by alert severity level in our dashboards, including the fleet overview dashboard and in the asset dashboard. I recommend setting the severity levels when you're setting up the alert content. The last part down here, this is where you set up if you want a webhook to be sent to another system, or if you just want the alert content. So I'd say unless you're setting up another integration where you want to automate using these alert content, most people are using alert only. But you can set up a JSON payload to be sent to another server. You just have to set up an admin would have to set that up under our admin menu. Okay, so that's how you set up an alert. Next, let's take a look at reports. Next, let's take a look at the alert events. Okay, so here's all of the alert events that have been triggered during the last 24 hours in this account. So up here, you can filter by asset name, by alert type, or by alert content. You can select specific assets here, over here on the right. So this allows you to filter filter the alert events. You can filter also by severity level of the alert, by alert name, and by alert type. You can change the time frame for the alert events that you're looking at here in the top right hand corner. You select this button here, and then you can come in here, you left click the first date in the date range, and then left click on the last date in the date range, and you can see all the alerts that have been triggered during that date range after you hit the apply button. We also have some predefined date ranges here too for you to select. Okay, last thing I'll show you here, we have an export button. So if you hit this button here, it'll automatically export it out into whatever format you select. Okay, now let's take a look at reports. So I'm going to hit this button here to expand this menu again and click on reports. And the first thing we're going to do is run a report. Okay, so If you click this button here, you can either type in the name of a report. We'll just type in trips as an example, or you can just scroll down and select the report. All right, so I'm going to select a maintenance status report for this example. You know what, actually, let's do a fleet summary. All right, so next you select which assets you want to see in this report. So I can select individual assets here. I can select groups of assets, assets assigned to a specific project. I can select drivers. I can also do it by business unit or hierarchy account, or I can just do the entire company. Here I can set up if I want to see just a specific time during the day, or I can, if I do no shift reporting, it'll just do a summary for the entire time frame that I select. So in the bottom right hand corner is actually where you select the date range. So right now I just have it set for today. We have a number of predefined date ranges over here on the left, or you can select a custom date range by selecting the first date in the date range with a left click, and then the last date in the date range. Then click apply. For this example, I'm just going to do yesterday and the day before. Okay, and then you just click run report. While this is loading here, I'll show you how to schedule a report. In the bottom left-hand corner, this allows you to set up the schedule to be sent automatically via email. So you can do that on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. For this example, we'll do a daily. So this one will be sent, you can set it up to be sent on just weekdays, or you can actually send them on the weekends too if you'd like. The date range, you can do just the previous day, just the last 24 hours from the point when the report is sent, or the current business day. So in this example, we would set it up to start today at 1 a.m. Since 1 a.m. is already passed for me, actually the first report won't be sent until tomorrow morning. And you can see that over here in the bottom right-hand panel here, you can see the first 3 scheduled reports. This helps you make sure that you're setting up the alert schedule the way you want it. So the first report would be sent on September 22nd at 1 a.m. And the date range for that report would be just from the start of the day to the end of the day of 9/21. So you have to give the report a title. So this would be the subject line of the email that you receive. So we'll just say fleet summary report. Actually, for this example, we'll do yesterday's fleet summary report. And then this is where you set up the email list. So you can put as many emails as you want here. You just have to separate it by hitting enter. So let's say ryan.nice@gmail.com. Okay, and that's all you got to do. And then this is where you select the format that you want it to be sent in. All right, and taking a look at the report here, all the reports are formatted similarly. Normally, what you typically see is a summary at the top and then details below. For this fleet summary report here, you can see the column headers here. We have the asset name, the current engine hours, the current location, and then a number of other utilization statistics here across the top. Say I just wanted to print this off or see it in Excel or CSV, you just hit these buttons down here and it'll export it out in those formats. Okay. All right. If you want to look at any of reports that you've scheduled in the past, you would click this View Schedules button. In this account, there hasn't been any that have been set up. And then if you want to just read through what any of these reports are detailing, you can come to this Reports Help section here, and then this gives an explanation for all the reports that we have set up. So you can see we have about 40 different reports here. So and we'll do a separate video detailing each one of these reports. Okay, next thing we're going to take a look at is maintenance. So if I click on maintenance here, you can see all our different links that we have underneath it. I'm going to start by going over the maintenance status view at the top. Okay, from this view, you can see all assets that are enrolled into a preventative maintenance program. Right now, we're sorting by the most due for maintenance. So at the bottom down here, we'll have everything that is the least due. You can export this into Excel, CSV, or PDF. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of these cards and see if we can break down what it means here. So this one's showing that it's 163% due for maintenance. That's because it's overdue. At 100% is where it's actually due for maintenance, and anything past that would be overdue. So we can see that the service interval is at 200,000 miles, and that this asset is currently at 203,000 miles, so 3,000 past its service interval. That's why it's showing overdue here, 3,127. So let's just say that it had its maintenance done at 200,000 and we haven't logged it yet. So now we need to log this maintenance. So I'm going to click on this log button here. Okay, and we're going to leave it here at this maintenance plan. We're going to select the service interval of 200,000. And we're going to say the maintenance was done on Wednesday, started and finished on the same day. And we're going to update the odometer to what it was at the time of the maintenance. Okay, we'll leave the engine hours blank. And we'll put an invoice number in, work order number, parts and labor costs, 1 hour of labor, and our buddy Nick Davis finished this maintenance. Okay, so we'll click on save here. If you're finishing this in the mobile app, you can actually snap pictures and the files will be uploaded to the maintenance log. Okay, all right, now that one's no longer showing overdue for maintenance. Finishing going over how you all the buttons in this view here. You can also break this out. Instead of looking at the plans, you can look at just individual assets here. So now you have to click this arrow here and you can see the individual maintenance plans that this asset's enrolled into. So you can see in this example, this asset's enrolled into 3 different plans. Okay, and you can filter by asset here, by maintenance status, so if you just wanted to see anything that was overdue, and by maintenance plan here. Okay, next we're going to take a look at how to set up a maintenance plan. So I'm going to click on plans here. And we are going to set up just a regular oil change here. So let's just click on add plan. Okay, so we can set up a plan and we can set it up as a variable interval or a fixed interval. So I'll just take a second to go over that. A fixed interval means that the asset will be due at whatever fixed interval you set it at. So for an oil change, if you wanted to do a fixed interval, you could say 5,000 miles. And then it would be, in this example, you can actually set when it's due or overdue. So in this example, we can slide this over and we'll say at 4,500 miles, trigger the due warning. And then at 5,000, it'll be overdue for maintenance. Now, for a fixed interval, it has to be done on that fixed interval. So that means it has to be done at 5,000, at 10,000, at 15,000, and so on and so forth. If you did the maintenance a little bit early, say at 4,000 miles, the next one is still going to be due at 10,000 miles, even though you did it at 4,000. If you want it to be due at 9,000, that would be a variable interval. So if you do it a little bit early, then just add 5,000 to whenever that was done. So if it was done in this example at 4,000 miles, then the next one would be due at 9,000 with a variable interval. So most of the time when you're doing oil changes, you're doing a variable interval because you don't need to be doing it at the fixed interval. A good example of fixed interval plan would be something like an annual inspection or a permit maybe that needs to be renewed every year. So when your registration is due every year, say it's due on the 1st of January, even if you say you don't get it done on the 1st of January and you get it done towards the end of January, still the following year, you still have to get it done on the 1st of January. So that's a fixed interval. Okay, and you can also come in here and set up one-time maintenance plans. And you'll just have to indicate when those are due. And then as needed plans. So not part of a regular preventative maintenance schedule. Okay, after you're done setting up let me finish showing an example how to set this up. So variable, we can do 5,000 for the oil change. And we'll just say that it also needs to be done every 90 days. So whatever hits first, at the 5,000 miles or at 90 days. Okay, so next we want to select the tasks. So we have a number of predefined tasks in here. So I'm going to say replace, and just here's everything that starts with replace. We'll say oil and filter. And if you want, you can customize new tasks. So you come in here and you select whichever action you want. And you could say clean windshield. Okay, and then save task. Okay, and then you come in here and windshield. We'll say clean windshield. Okay, so these are the two tasks I'm going to leave in this plan, but you can put as many tasks as you want. Okay, and now we have to select the assets that we want subject to this maintenance plan. So you can do it by groups of assets, the entire company, or you can select individual assets here. Okay, and last are files. Files can be anything, PDF files, pictures. Some examples of things that people put in here would be instructions on how to complete different types of maintenance, parts numbers, suppliers to get parts, different things of that nature. We'll give it a name here, oil change. Okay, and I'll select an asset. Go for. Okay, and then save. Okay, and that's how you set up a maintenance plan. And here you can see a list of all the existing maintenance plans. And you can export that out. Okay, next we're going to look at tasks. Okay, with tasks you can create custom tasks. This is the same functionality we were looking at when we were creating a plan. So you just come in here and you select your action. Lubricate wheel bearings would be an example of a new task. You can require a comment on that task. So as the maintenance personnel is going through and completing the task, you can require that they put a comment on here. So you can say wheel bearings greased. Okay, and then you click save. Okay, save here. All right, next, this logs here is just a list of any maintenance logs that have been completed. These are kind of like work orders, so any work orders would be associated with a log. Okay, next up, inspections. We're going to take a look at actually how to set up an inspection checklist first. So you actually have to do that underneath inspection types, and then we're going to go back and complete an inspection. So here's a list of all the inspection checklists that are already set up. I'm going to start a new one up here in the top right-hand corner. Okay, let's create a safety inspection checklist. So we'll call this our pre-trip safety inspection here. Okay, we have several types that you can assign to it. So this can be a daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly, or in this case, we're going to do a pre-trip inspection. If you set these up, you still have to set up a separate preventative maintenance plan to set up the reminders to know when those are going to be due. And then you would come in here and actually complete the inspection here. Just like this here. Let me go ahead and assign the tasks to the outline here. So what you do is you just drag these, you left click on them, and then you drag and drop them over here in this blue section. So I'm going to search for, let's see, check all mirrors, check tire pressure, let's see, check lights, Okay, that's fine just for an example. So we'll click save. And just so you're aware, you can maneuver these around and put them in whatever order you'd like. And then this red X obviously would delete them. All right, click save. All right, so now I have a pre-trip inspection. So next I'm going to go and complete an inspection. So we do that here under inspections. Okay, here's a panel where you can see all the completed inspections during this time frame. You can change the time frame over here just by using any of these predefined timelines or times, and then or you can do a custom time. So you can do left click on the beginning and then left click on the end, then click apply. Okay, so you can see there was two inspections completed during this time. So now you can see this is the date when it was completed, name of the asset, the status. If they wrote in a summary, that would be shown here. The CA stands for corrective action. So if you failed an inspection and you have a maintenance personnel in charge of correcting any issues, you'd have to come in here and edit the asset and then add in your corrective action notes. So let's go ahead and complete inspection. Okay, inspection type. Let's do this pre-trip safety inspection that I created. All right, let's pick an asset, 5009, inspected by Ryan Knights. All right, we'll leave it at today's date and time, and the odometer and engine hours will auto-fill in from the telematics device. Okay, so let's just go through. You just check off anything that you've inspected. If anything fails the inspection, you would click this X here. Monitor is normally like a minor defect, and failure normally means you cannot use the asset until the issue is addressed. And so we'll say failure, save. Anytime you click this X here, you're going to have to leave a comment. So we'll just say that the tire is back, right, tire is flat. Okay, and then check. All right, so this lets the maintenance personnel know what needs to be addressed. So we'll fail this. You can also assign a driver. So if you complete a pre-trip inspection, you can come in here and assign yourself as the driver. Starting today, I'll be the driver of trans-5009, and I'll leave the end date blank. Okay, let's hit save. Okay, and that's how you complete an inspection. All right, so if you want to complete the corrective action, you just come in here and click this edit button. And then you click the corrective action status. So we'll just say it's completed. Filled up the air pressure. Okay. And we'll say we did this today. Approved by McDavis. Okay. All right, next we're going to take a look at the diagnostic trouble code section here. So that's listed here under DTCs. We also have a diagnostic trouble code report that you can have sent automatically, or we have a Power BI dashboard under our maintenance section here, which we'll take a look at later. Okay, so we just give you some basic information about which asset triggered the DTC, the date of the diagnostic trouble code, and this is just some information about the asset. Okay, and then we give you some basic information about the trouble code. So we'll give you like the SPN, the FMI, and then maybe a description of what the issue is. So this is nice so you don't even have to use any type of diagnostic trouble tool. You can just come to our platform here, and from here you can see what the codes mean. You can change the time frames here, and you can export this. And of course, you can search for an asset if you had a specific asset in mind. Okay. All right, next let's take a look at our Power BI dashboards. Okay, So here's our fleet overview dashboard. You'll notice that there are different views across the top here. So this first page is a summary of all the views. So the way each one of these views will work is there'll be different charts within each view. So in each one of these charts here, you're going to have a little help guide tooltip. So this will tell you exactly what metric is showing in here. So there's probably 8 to 15 different charts in each one of these views. So I'm not going to go through each one and their use cases. In fact, I'll probably create a separate video for that. The point here is I just want to show you how to use these dashboards here. So to do that, we start over here. It says last 30 days. To change the time frame, you just select a different predefined time frame from this drop-down menu, or you can do a custom range here. Now you can go back over a year, so you can do a full year's length time if you'd like. We'll just say August here. And right now our time unit is day, so we have the individual days listed along the bottom here. And our summary level is asset, so we're showing individual assets in here. But we could switch this up and we could, let's just use make as an example here. So now I'm looking at summary level of make. So now you notice that the makes are showing here. Okay, you can come in here and you can actually select specific makes. So if you wanted to filter by specific make, you could do that. You could actually do multiple makes. Okay, or you could do groups of assets here. So any groups that you've created, as well as projects. Okay, so we also show utilization rates in here. So utilization rate is just a measure of actual engine hours versus your target. So if your target is 8 hours and your vehicle or asset was used for 8 hours during that day, then you would be at 100% utilization. You can be utilized and underutilized. The difference between basic and active. Active counts only days where the asset was in use. Basic utilization will count even weekends or any days even when the asset isn't in use. Okay, so next I want to show you actually our weekly snapshot. So this is a nice dashboard here too. This one you can actually customize. So you can actually just drag this around and you can customize this to whatever meets your needs for your use cases, for your role in the company. You can customize this further, so you can add other charts or you can delete charts, and then at the end you can save your layout. You can also make any of these charts bigger or smaller too. So really just customizing this to whatever fits your needs. So I think this is a really nice feature here. The asset dashboard is the dashboard that we already took a look at. So I'll just show you just for reference here. You have to select an asset. Okay, so this should look familiar. So I'll close this one out. Driver summary. This is specific to drivers that have been assigned to an asset. And then the user activity is a good way to come see how engaged your employees are. Okay, and so that's about it for the dashboards. All right, so the last thing I'll show you is the user profile. Up here, if you go under user profile, it's important to come in here and make sure your time zone is correct. And then this is where you get your access code for the mobile phone app. Okay, so you can also change your units of measure, so you can switch to the metric system if you'd like. And then filling in your address information, all this is optional. Okay. All right, I think that about wraps it up. Just remember that if you need any help, you can always come up here to hit help. You can contact our support team. This is a link to our help center, and you can always refer back to this video. Okay, thanks everyone for your time today.